Move on to our next coach this morning, the head coach of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, Joe Moglia. Good morning, Coach.
Hey. Good morning, Mark.
Shots with a 34-27 win over Western Illinois to move to 3-0, still number 1 in the coaches poll, number 2 in the stats poll. Home again this coming Saturday facing Bryant. If you can open up, talk about the victory over the Leathernecks, then we'll start taking questions and talk about Bryant.
We were certainly delighted with the fact that we had the victory, but we did not represent ourselves well either on offense or defense. But both our offense and defense are well aware of that. We just didn't execute as well as we needed to on either side of the ball. We were able to come up with some good plays, some nice stands, but we weren't nearly as consistent as what we're going to have to be if we're going to have a successful season. Where we really did a good job was the special teams. It doesn't really matter what it was, just like across the board. Our field goal was solid. Didn't do anything wrong, didn't do anything outstanding, but it was solid. The field goal block team was good. The punt block and return team was good. I mean, better than good. Our kickoff team was good. Our kickoff return was good. Our punt was good. Across the board, our special teams were really outstanding. And that's frankly the reason why we won the game. Now, going forward, we need to understand that we've got to fix some of the problems that we had on each side of the ball and become more consistent. But our guys are aware of that, and we're focused on that.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. At this time, I'll start taking questions for Coastal Carolina head coach Joe Moglia. To ask a question, please press star 1 on your phone at any time, or click the Q&A link near the top of your browser, and click raise hand if you join us via the web. Coach, while we wait for a question or two, can you talk more specifically about what those things are on offense and defense that you see need some work?
I think our third down conversion rate, for example, was very, very poor the other day. So maybe there are some better selections we might have been able to make, perhaps as far as calls go, but I think for the most part, a pass that under normal circumstances I like to think we'd complete, would be just a foot or 2 or 3 away from the guy. But if you're 2 or 3 feet off in your passing game, you're not going to be very, very accurate, and an incompletion, or completion rather, becomes an incompletion very, very quickly, or potentially even an interception. So we weren't. I think the biggest issue was perhaps our third down conversions. We were much better across the board with regards to penalties, again, which is something that we like to pride ourselves on. But in the red zone, we wound up having 2 penalties. That didn't help us. In one case, it forced us to make a longer field goal that we wound up missing. In the other case, we had to settle for a field goal. But that's not what we're trying to accomplish. From a defensive perspective, I think it was just a matter of, by the time they had an outstanding second half against us. And when we looked at the film, it was like there were so many mistakes that we just hadn't been making. Like the guys were misaligned, or they didn't get the depth they needed on a drop, or they're supposed to key number 2 and a key in number 1. It was like a consistency of errors, and it wasn't like we put in anything different. We should have been able to execute much better than what we did. So when you're not executing well, the priority then is to make sure you get your execution done. It's cut back. It's not add to. So that's the approach we're taking this week.
All right. Again, questions for Coastal Carolina head coach Joe Moglia. Press star 1 on your phone, or click the Q&A link near the top of your browser and click raise hand. Coach, let's turn the page. Talk about Bryant. What do you know of this week's opponent?
I know Marty Fine is their head coach, and I know Marty a little bit, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for what he does and what he's been able to accomplish with the program. They're the favorites to win their conference this year. On defense, they're number 3 in the country. They're number 1 in the country in turnover margin. They're the top-rated defense, or one of the top-rated defenses in the country for how effective they are in both the red zone and fourth down conversions. They've always had, and certainly do have, solid special teams. They played 1 game less than we have. They're 2-0, and if those of you that are not aware, Bryant is in Rhode Island, so a big game for them. I think they play Brown every year, which is in Providence, Rhode Island, and they beat them, which that would be a big game for them. The quarterback was all-conference a year ago. He's back. And they have a wide receiver who's all-conference a year ago, and he's back. So I think they are fundamentally a very, very sound team that executes well.
All right, Coach. We're taking questions for Coach Joe Moglia. I'm not seeing any more come in for you, Coach. There's one last call before we let you go. I need final questions for Coach Moglia. All right, hearing none, Coach, we'll let you go, but thanks for joining us, and good luck Saturday against Bryant.
Thanks very much, Mark.
All right.